Let's go and bring in NBC 10 commentator and the co-host of At Issue, Sue O'Connell. All right, Sue, let's bring up that checklist that you showed us yesterday. 18 things you said the president needed to accomplish in the speech, everything from blaming Republicans to saying he's tough on the border and mentioning the age of his political rival, Donald Trump. How did he do? Did he get the full 18?
Almost, Corey, as we were watching it together and texting each other. He hit 17 out of 18. The one big miss, he did not address Latino voters. I'm going to give him a full point for mentioning Trump's age. Although he didn't do it directly, he referred to some other people my age, and then talked about resentment, revenge, and retribution. So clearly he was talking about Trump. So he gets a point for that. And Biden talked about defending democracy by bringing up Putin, Ukraine, and the importance of NATO, and quoting Trump's "do whatever the hell you want" comment. And while he committed a Biden gaffe using the term illegal while ad-libbing, he did have it both ways on the border issue, being tough, blaming the Republicans for blocking a solution, while reminding voters that America is the land of immigrants.
All right, so I want to ask specifically about one item that was on that list, and that was express confidence in the vice president. Now, one of Biden's challenges, we know, is his age. Some people believe he's too old to do the job and don't believe that he can make it through another term, which would obviously lead to a Kamala Harris presidency. That might not be an issue if she were more popular. Did he achieve what he set out to do with regards to her last night?
Yeah, I think he did. He thanked Harris for, quote, being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more, end quote. So remember, Vice President Harris spent the first half of her term stuck in Washington. She was going to be the tie-breaking vote in any 50-50 Senate vote, but then he assigned her to address the root causes of migration to the U.S. from Central America. Not an easy task. And she's also been in Europe working on NATO issues, something else that the average voter just isn't paying attention to. But reproductive freedom and abortion access, this may be issue number one for many voters, and Biden clearly and publicly expressed confidence in Harris by noting her leadership on the issue.
All right, so we know what the most memeable moment last night was, and that was when President Biden saw Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House floor. Go find it online. It's pretty funny. But what was his best moment last night in your view? What part of the policy or something that he said maybe do you think will be the blueprint for his campaign in the coming months?
Yeah, I think it was overall, Corey, I think it was the best speech of Biden's term as president. It may have actually been the best speech he's ever given ever. So there was a lot of good moments in there. But for me, it was when he took a page from President Obama's 2010 State of the Union, when Obama condemned the Citizens United ruling. And Biden, too, looked right at the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade and used Justice Samuel Alito's quote about women's political power, which was in his opinion overturning Roe. And he said, quote, "You're about to realize just how much," end quote. So he's showing how far he'll go to protect reproductive freedom, and that should be the template for every campaign speech that he gives.
All right, the next couple of months are going to be exciting. Sue, we know you're going to be watching it all for us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Corey.